Okay, so moving on with the model now. If we go to our reference image, you can see that we now have these lines that are going down sort of between what we've already created. Okay, so that's going to be pretty tricky. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our edge mode, and we're going to get all the edges that those lines are going to go between. So underneath here, go down to here. It's going to go. We're going to need it to go over the top of this. So we get those edges as well, down to the bottom there. Remember, I'm holding Control to select multiple edges at once. So see what I've got, all the way down to the bottom. Now, if I go to connect, you'll notice straight away, without changing anything, that you've got this sort of wonky line, which isn't what we want, because we want those lines to be straight down there and also straight down there, so it's all parallel. Okay, so we're going to need to make some modifications up here to achieve that. So what we want to do, I think I want about 3 extra segments, and again you can see that those lines don't match up. So what we can do first is get this box here, drag that up, and you can see how they're coming together until they are parallel, and we might want to use our side view to get that more accurate. We'll go with that. 32. Okay. Oops, I pushed tick too early, sorry. Get that back up. Okay. So when they're about as parallel as you can possibly get them, that's perfectly right. Then you can use this dialog box to separate them. But notice how then it goes a bit off center again. So you kind of need to play around with these until you've got it how you want it, and you've got 4 even parallel lines here. Okay, so you might want to spend a bit more time getting it dead on, but that looks right. So I've used 19 and 27 there. If you want to use the same, and then push tick. Okay, and then with any luck, we can go around the other sides again, doing exactly the same thing. Push connect, and it should remember, which it does, but you can see that it's all out again. So just go back to the drawing board with these, and then just keep on adjusting until everything is the way you want it. Okay, so I'm just going to pause and do the rest of them because it takes a little while. Okay, as you can see, and you probably notice yourself when doing it, when you do this side and its opposite side, it works perfectly fine, the technique we've used. But when you do it on these sides, it does not want to go parallel. So there is ways of fixing that, but it gets a bit too complicated to what we want to go to at this point in time. So to simplify it down, we just changed it to going horizontally instead of vertically on these sides, which does work fine. Which is fine. You can see, I know it's a bit blurry over here, but we can see these ones go horizontally, and they change on this one. So we'll go with that. Right. So it might take you a little bit of time to get to this point. Okay. So make sure right now you don't jump ahead until you're happy that you're here. Okay. You might want to watch over what I've done a couple of times until you get it right. Okay. But there's no point progressing when you haven't got this right so far. Okay, so once you're happy at this point, we can go back to our edge mode here. What I want to do is just select these top 3 edges for now. And what I want to do is I want to add in some actual depth into these, because at the moment it's still just flat, even though there are edges here. So I want to go to Chamfer. And by default, yours will probably be set to quad up here. I need to change that to try because we don't want it to be 3 lines like that. We want it to just be 2. Okay, and then you can see you can adjust this amount. What do we want it to be? Probably about 0.3. Okay, that's fine. Push tick and do the same to the bottom 3 here. Chamfer again, you'll see it will remember what we've done and push tick. If you ever get anything like this along the bottom here, so you can see it's gone all black here, let's get the polygon, delete it, get the border and push cap. Okay, that can happen sometimes when the geometry goes a bit funny, but I think yeah, it's done it to the top as well, look. So border, select it, and cap. Okay, the last thing I want to do is just select these new polygons that we've created here. And what we're going to do is just extrude them inwards. Only a little bit. That'll do. So that there's some depth there for when we have our shadows on and things. Okay. So there now you can actually see, like, you know, they look like it's made up of something rather than that just being flat like it was on this side. Okay. So it's going to be a case again of just going around and repeating the process. Is it going to remember what we did with Chamfer? Yes, it is. It's going to do all of them this time. You can see each time that it's doing the same thing to these polygons here. It's fine, then I'll come back and fix it in a second. Okay, so remember, just go to polygon, delete those, cap them back off again, delete the ones that have gone all funny, cap. Okay, and select all of these polygons and extrude them back, and remember with the dialog box it remembers what we did before. Looks like I already did that one. I've done this one. Last one. Okay, I've forgotten to do those as well. Okay, so as you can see, it takes a lot of time when you're adding in sort of these minor details, but in the end the results pay off because the model itself, those minor details make a big difference. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and add in our real basic lighting system. So go to your lights up here. You don't want photometric ones, you want just standard. Click to add the skylight. Move it just so that it's, put it right in the middle, should I? Shining down on your model. Go to modify, make sure it's casting shadows. Change the high quality. Remove your edge faces. And drop in an omni light, which is going to be like our sun position. And make sure that's also casting shadows. Okay. Okay, and you can see the effect of doing those extrusions makes a big difference. Excellent. Okay. We might as well finish off. You can see that I've not done the top in this instance because you can see within our reference image that it's got these kind of planks that go across the top. This crate does have that same effect on all 4 sides, or 6 sides I should say. So, you know, you could go ahead and do that for one of them and this way for another. It's up to you, but I'm going to add on these planks up here. So whilst we're working, go back to standard. And that's going to be nice and easy. Just go to create a box, turn on auto grid. If you remember, we did that before if you want to add a shape on top of a model that you've already got. So start somewhere random. Create one of the planks. Sorry, that I accidentally pressed the shortcut to turn that one on. Put it into place. Change it to an editable poly. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold. Actually, hold on. Make sure it's the right size first. How you want it. I think that's a bit chunky. And hold Shift and drag to duplicate this. And I'm not going to instance it because I want them all to be different. As you can see here, they're all kind of different lengths. I'm just going to do a copy. About 6 would probably be more than enough. That's fine. Let's select all of them and just make them central. Might space them out a bit. Ideally, you'd make them all the right size so you didn't have to really do this. I'm going to have a gap there. I'm not going to worry too much. I can come back and fix that. But for now it's fine. So what I can do is I can go to polygon for each one and just change the width slightly for each one. Here's my reference image. Remember, if I'm in polygon mode for one of these, I can't just select another one because I'm still within this one. So I have to go editable poly and then select the next one. Okay, so I'm just going to pause. I might as well pause whilst I do this because otherwise you're just watching 1 second. Okay, so I've tweaked the size of all of these and I'm happy with that. Change the color of them so that they all match for now. And that's the crate done from our image. So let's just have a look at how that's looking. Okay, good. Just going to put a ground plane on. So I can see the shadows a bit better. Push G to get rid of that grid, I don't need that anymore. Okay. Yeah, great. Happy with that so far. So again, it may take you a while to get to this point. It may take you a few attempts, especially with all this detailing in here. It can be a bit fiddly. So take your time, make sure you get it right, and don't move on until you're ready.